This video is based on my personal life experiences and opinions. It is not meant to generalize or target any group. The goal is to start honest conversations about cultural shifts, work ethic, and entitlement in Canada. Please listen with an open mind and keep the comments respectful. Nufftingz Speaks is about truth, not hate. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So this is Nufftingz with another episode of Nufftingz Speaks. So I know I've been doing a lot of Pokemon stuff and talking about things going on in Pokemon, but we're going to go a little bit in a different direction, right? So I was getting comments. I'm not going to share the pictures of these comments, but these comments were saying stuff about the state of Canada and Canadians disliking Indians and whatever, right? So I'm really going to get into this. So be prepared for some outrageous stories and whatever, right? So just to give you a little bit of what I'm trying to say, I'm gonna give you a little background on me and what I've seen that gives me a little bit of qualification. We shouldn't be talking about stuff like this, but this is what we're gonna talk about, right? So, all right. Growing up, I'm born in Canada, right? My family is Jamaican, but they're Indian Jamaicans, right? So, but I do got a lot of family that are black and whatever, right? So, me in Canada, I was born here, right? I'm the first generation Canadian in my family. My mom, well, my grandma, she raised me, and she is a seamstress. She still is till this day. So I used to meet a lot of people, right? I still meet a lot of people, but through her, I used to meet so many people. And I mean every race, every race, Italians, Portuguese, any type of Asian, any type of anybody. It was amazing. I'm into so many weddings, so many, and I could tell you about each type of culture and what their weddings are like and which one is better and all that. Italians got the best weddings. That's just that was my opinion. But growing up, my mom used to be friends with some good customers that she had, right? So one lady, she's passed on now, but she was an Italian lady. And in Mississauga, there's an actual spot that nothing but Italians live in that area, right? They all have houses. They have big families. I remember in her house, she had a big portrait. And it was 100 people in this photo. And it was her and all her grandkids, all her kids, her brothers, sisters. It was a whole bunch of them. It was beautiful. And she used to make this big Pyrex dish of spaghetti. And I'm telling you, man, the meatballs were like tits. They were so big. These meatballs were so big. And I remember, because I'm diabetic, right? And when you have a really low blood sugar, especially at a young age, you'll go in the fridge and just start eating whatever the hell's in the fridge. I remember I used to take those meatballs in my hand and just, nom, 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 nom. It was beautiful, man. Oh, I miss that woman. But so I used to be around the Italians. And one thing about Italians that I had saw was that they weren't racist, but they wouldn't really, their kids didn't really marry other races. And I mean, people be like, oh, they didn't marry blacks. No. They didn't marry anybody else. Anybody. They just married Italians. And I mean, that's where a lot of cultures do their thing, right? So that's just giving you a little, that's just one person. But I could tell you 50 million, not 50 million, but a lot of stories on other people that I've been to their house. And, even Chinese men, we've been to their house. They would give me ice cream. They would tell you about their kids and them going to school and becoming doctors and the racism that they went through coming here. And that's one of the things people tend to forget. Every culture has had racism. I don't know if every culture has had slavery, but it pretty much seems like every culture has had some type of slavery, racism, all types of stuff, right? So the whole thing with what's going on with Canada and this immigration, when I was a kid, you saw more white people, you saw a lot of black people. Well, you saw more, the most you saw was white people, but you saw black people and you saw Asians. And I don't mean Filipinos, I mean like Chinese, Japanese, but of course, every other culture calls them all Chinese, right? So you would see these, like the Asians would have their own shops. They would have like their own little like plaza or something, like an Asian plaza or something like that, right? And you used to hear other cultures be like, oh, why do they get this? And blah, blah, blah. And as a kid, I'd understand why they were complaining, but it's a lot of jealousy from a lot of cultures where when one culture flourishes, as in they work together, they, they help one another, they all strive to achieve greatness, they open up stores, they do whatever, then the other cultures are mad, right? And I don't understand why. So, um, you have this problem now, and things from now to like the 90s, totally different. So, for example, you have a whole bunch of Indians coming into the country, right? And I mean, there's so many types of Indians. You got the Hindus, you got the Sikhs. I mean, the Sikhs have always been here and they're very quiet. I've never had issues with Sikhs at all. I think Sikhs are the nicest people. They're the ones who do a lot of volunteer work. They run a lot of food banks and they really try to help people, right? You got Hindus, which that's what my family is. They're a bunch of Hindus, back in the day. And then you got the Muslims, right? There's probably more, but I don't know them. But I'm just talking about the three main ones right now, right? So the whole problem is there's a place out here called Brampton. And when I lived in Brampton, you used to see a lot of this, Indian versus black. But you never really see white people involved in that. But you always saw like this constant struggle with the two, right? And it was like, why? I never understood why there was this whole issue. But even then, this is like, God, 15 years ago, there was Indians, but there wasn't as many as now. Now, the problem with what's going on now is that there's too many, right? And even that isn't really the problem. The problem is that it's too many and they're not good people that are coming in. And I don't know if it could also be like the ones that are kids now and their parents worked their ass off, have a house, whatever. And these kids are just spoiled brats and can live off their parents and whatever. I don't know. But even like when I go in an Uber, I will get, a lot of people from different countries. And you'll get like the Indian guys and they'll just give you all these stories and they'll talk about how the young generation now isn't following any of the rules from before, right? They're just wild, right? And I mean, that's not only them. Like if you look at the children now, and I'm talking like, 20-year-olds and all that, the rules that were around 10, 15, 20 years ago don't apply anymore. Like everything has changed, right? Like the things that they do now, there's no honor in anything, right? It's just nothing but nonsense. Like there's no honor among them. There's no like the rules that you used to follow. Like if you had beef with someone, you don't get their family involved. They don't get their kids involved. They don't follow stuff like that anymore. They're just wild, right? You don't know when they're going to snap, right? But this is everybody that's young, right? There's also that whole thing where it's like, I'm entitled. And that's another huge problem where a lot of people now are just entitled to stuff. They feel, well, I went through stuff or my forefathers went through stuff and we're entitled to something. Whatever, right? So going on to what I'm saying about the whole Indian thing, right? So, when I say Indian, I don't mean native Indians. I mean like, East Indians or whatever. So a lot of people have an issue with so many of them coming into the country, right? Now, that's a government thing. They decided to bring them all in. But I guess the whole problem is they never checked to see who they brought in. And they brought in the crazy ones, the ones that weren't really about anything, the ones that weren't going to benefit the country at all. Now, one of the things I have to say, and people will get mad at me for this, is that white people have to take some blame for this, and let me tell you why. The problem is, and when I mean white people, I mean like not Italians or any of that. I mean the ones that are born in Canada, they grew up here, and they had an entitlement problem from birth. And what I mean is, this could be like people my own age, right? Like in their 30s and all that too. It could be those people, right? The problem with those ones is that in this country, right, we have this thing called child tax, right? This is a huge thing. I don't know why people think so big about like it's whatever. So child tax is a thing where if you have kids in Canada, the government will give you a set amount of money depending on your income, right? So a lot of families, they sustain life by having children, right? So I remember years ago when my daughter was born, she was born premature, 29 weeks. So we had to go to sick kids. And I remember there was this guy, I'll never forget this guy. And he had a kid that was at sick kids, right? So the kid was really sick and had to do surgery, and they had the surgery, and the surgery was successful and whatever. He had 8 other children, and he just kept having kids because the government was giving him money monthly for kids. I've seen people that will have 5 kids and then buy a house, right? The money does end at 18, so you better figure out something before or pay off your house by then. But it's a thing that Canadian government really wanted us to have children. So even me, I have 2 kids. I get it too. But the lower the income, the more you get. Now, if you're like rich, you're making 100 grand a year. I think you get like $5, but it's really more for the low income. Now, one of the things that I see a lot of people that were born here that are white, even some of the other cultures, was more the white people that were doing this, right? They would not have children. So you would have these parents, right? They would be grandparents now because they got kids in their 30s and late 20s and even 40s, right? But these kids never move out. They stay home, right? So they don't have any ambitions to leave the nest. So they stay in their parents' house. Now, mind you, our parents do get older, and how long can you really sustain that? The other problem is a lot of those people are highly uneducated. They didn't finish high school. They didn't go to college. They don't read books. They do stupid, childish shit all the time. They have no life experience. And that's the other issue. Now, I have a whole bunch of friends that are new in the country. I have a friend from Nepal. Beautiful woman. She's such a lovely person, always smiling. On TikTok now doing all types of weird crap. When she came here, I had met her. I was doing a nutrition course and I met her. And she is from Nepal. And in Nepal, she was a nurse. She came to Canada for a better life. Didn't have any kids, but she had a husband that, was very ambitious and worked really hard, right? Plus she was really pretty, so I assume he'd have to work hard for her. But when I would talk to her, she would tell me that, she came here and she can't be a nurse unless she goes back to school. She went back to school. She had to do everything all over again. I don't think she's a nurse now because I know she had 2 kids. So she's probably, a mother now, right? But that's the thing that I'm talking about. We can't sit here and complain that they're beating us and stuff and they're pushing us out of jobs and all that if we're not educated. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's not like we can do landscaping and construction all year round out here. This is a cold country. We have winter, like, I swear to God, it's like 10 months. The problem is, if you have an employer, right, and let's say it's for Tim Hortons, and they see 2 resumes, and there's you, the white person, and you never graduated high school. You have you never went to college, you have work experience that is just minimum, and you might even have a criminal record. And then you have someone who's new in the country, is going to school, has a degree in whatever in their country, and is willing to work any hour you give them. I'm gonna I'm gonna hire that Indian person. And that's the other thing. Back when I used to run, we used to play Xbox, right? Still play Xbox now, but when I used to play and I used to be on Xbox Live, I had this friend, and was an older dude. And I had another one who was a Mexican dude. The older dude was a white dude. The Mexican guy was working construction. He actually passed away too at work. He used to work for pennies doing construction. He got paid the least amount because he just wanted to work, right? He would work for nothing, but he would work. The other guy used to complain that the Mexicans keep taking their jobs. But if the Mexicans are willing to work for less, but you see, that's the thing I'm talking about with the white dude. Entitlement. He feels he's worth X amount of money, but the employer is going to hire the guy that's cheaper that could probably do the work the same way, if not better. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that people don't seem to understand. Like right now, every Tim Hortons out here is run by Indians. Why is that? Well, because they're actually becoming the managers. They're becoming the assistant managers. So who are they going to hire? I mean, it would be the same thing with any other race. If it's a bunch of white people running it, they're going to hire white people mostly. Same thing with black people. Same thing with anybody else. So why are we mad at them for helping each other? See, this is the problem I have with even Jamaicans. I could say black, but I'm talking Jamaicans here. Let's say I opened a West Indian takeout, right? Like a West Indian store, and I'm selling, jackfruit and all the other Jamaican stuff, right? The Jamaicans would come to my place and they'd be like, "Oh man, can you give me a discount on this, my brother?" Or, "Sister, I'm your sister, give me a discount." That's all you would hear, right? But if you had, but the white people, they would come, they'd spend their money. The Asians, they would come and spend their money. Anybody else would spend their money, but it would be our people that would say, well, my people that would say, "Nah, I need a discount," right? They're not doing that at the other places. They'll go to the Chinese store and they will pay for everything full price and not ask for a discount, but they feel that we should help each other because we're the same culture, right? I don't see that in Indian places. You go to any type of Indian place, right? Even Punjabi place, any Pakistani place, any of those places, even Asian. If there's a grand opening, all their people are coming. Straight up. They're all supporting that business. They could suck. Their food could be garbage. The stuff that they have could be expensive. Like there's Asian places by my house. The bags of milk are like $10. And you see Asian people buying the 4-liter bags of milk for $10 when you can get it for $6.99 at Freshco. But they're supporting their people, and that's what they do. They hire their people. They support their people. We have an issue where we're mad that we're getting pushed aside, but no one's making an effort to push back. All they're doing is complaining. Like, what are you complaining about? If you don't want to get educated and you want to sit at home under your mother and father's butt, why are you mad? Like, it's also like you have these kids, they're not even trying to help their parents to get a better house, get a bigger house, put some money into something. They just want to sit there and pick their butts. But then you have these Indian people who will work a full-time job and drive Uber at night. And it's like, and they will demean themselves and work for pennies just so they have a job. While you other people feel that you're entitled to extra stuff because you were born here. That's not how it works, man. If you hate how it goes, push them out, man. Be like, you know what? I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do something, or I'm going to learn something and start my own business or whatever. The other thing is you have these same people, and it's really the white people that do this a lot. They won't be like, oh, I don't want to have children. I could never see a baby growing inside me or whatever. Oh, I don't want kids. I hate kids or whatever, right? Then they sit there and be like, but why do these other cultures get more money? And you know what the thing is not even the Indians that are really that big of a deal. It's Ukrainians that have come out here, and people are mad that the Ukrainians get all this extra love, but you see them with all their children, they're working, they're doing stuff. They're not sitting at home waiting for something to happen. That's what I'm trying to say here. Like, there's no reason why you can't figure out how to make some money. Maybe, go on YouTube, do something. Like, you just sit there and you just do nothing. And then you're mad that the people that are ambitious and are willing to push you out, when they push you out, you go, why are they pushing me out? You're not entitled to anything. If you're not going to work for it, you're not going to get it. So I don't understand why people feel like, oh yeah, I deserve this. Why? Because you were born here? Dude, we were all immigrants at one point, except for the natives. They're the only ones that this is their country. But we were all immigrants at one point. Our forefathers, not just me, the Irish people, like any other people that came here before, their great grandparents, all that worked really hard so that you would have opportunities. If you want to sit there and pick your butt and not utilize these opportunities, that's yo ass. Like, you can't expect to be on the same playing field as people who are highly educated in their home countries. Now, I know there's ones now that are coming, like people that are coming now that are not good people, and they're highly violent, and they're bringing the bad stuff that they do in their country, the bad, what's the word here? Man, the not bad qualities, but they're the bad stuff that they do, the bad feelings. Like, I don't know, they're bringing um they're bringing their stuff that they do back home that's not good, and they're bringing it over here. Their bad qualities. There you go. They're bringing their bad qualities from their country and coming here and ruining it for the rest of them that are actually trying to do something. So we have no reason to be mad at them. I'm not mad at them. They're not stopping me from what I'm doing. But people need to stop feeling like, yo, I deserve. I know a whole bunch of guys that I play Pokemon Go with, and these guys are, trying their best. They work, they go to school. Some of them work in banks. What, like, you can't be mad at them for going after the big jobs instead of people trying to be the next Haktua girl or something like that. Like, these people are trying to be lawyers, doctors. They're trying to learn trades. They'll drive trucks with like the most booty license ever and can't even drive the truck, but they're still doing stuff that people don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, you can't be mad at them for that. Like, it's just, maybe you should get yourself situated in a better position and stay away and get away from your mamas and stuff and your daddies, and stop thinking that pets are the same thing as children. That's the other thing. I probably went off on a different story there, but you know how many people I know in general, like even people, like, I always hear about this, white people that love pets more than having their own children. And this is what I said. You get free money for having children out here, right? You don't get shit for pets. I'm not saying not to have pets. I'm saying if the other cultures are out there having 10 kids and getting, let's say, $1,000 each per kid, it's not that much, but let's just give it a nice round number. That's $10,000 extra every month, while you are struggling to keep one dog. You see my point here? Have some children. I was watching this video on this guy. It's like a year-old video, and he went to Brampton, and he was talking to the people in Brampton about the situation in Brampton with all the immigration or whatever, right? And this is a year ago. And when he would talk to the white people would say stuff like, we're minorities now. We're getting pushed out. Yeah, and then one woman, smart woman as she is, she said nobody's reproducing in our culture. That's not a wrong statement. If you're not going to reproduce and the other culture is going to reproduce, you're going to get pushed out. No, like there's no like argument with that. I don't even know what else to say because it's so dumb. It's like you would think, okay, if we're losing this battle of reproduction, start reproducing, bro. Like I don't understand, bro. If they have 10, you could at least have one or two. But it's like, oh, I don't want to do it. I'd rather have a cat. Like, but then don't complain if they're getting free money for utilizing the system. If you're going to get money for having children, why not have them? Don't be mad at the people that are actually having children and getting money for it. Like, relax. Calm down, buddy. Like, you have an easy fix. How hard is it? Look, man, if y'all need to have a baby daddy, holler at me, turkey baster all the way. Okay. But seriously, though, like, no. Like, get your shit together and stop whining. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, when my mom used to always tell me, stop watching other people. I don't watch other people, bro. If you got money, good for you. Claps, bro. You get a golf clap. I don't give a shit. But, like, come on, bro. It's an easy fix. Go back to school. Achieve something. What are they going to tell you then? Okay, so you can't get a job after you're done school. Then you grind. You find something and you do something. They're finding things to do. They're teaching their children to be doctors and lawyers and all that. Why is it that other cultures feel like every one of their kids should be a construction worker, or you're the next YouTube star, or like, if they're going to take all the jobs that mean something, you can't be mad. It's like, I have people that I know that don't want an Indian doctor. They don't even know the difference between Indian and Pakistani and all that. They'll just say something like, I don't want a Muslim doctor. But Muslims could be black, Muslims could be Arab, whatever. And it's like, so you're mad that you can't get a doctor and the only ones available are from that culture? Like, then why don't we tell our children to be doctors so that we can have more doctors from other cultures? You remember back in the day when like every doctor was Asian in Canada? I don't know. It seemed like that to me. Now they're all Indian because they go to school and they become doctors while you're sitting at home twiddling your thumbs and waiting for the next big thing to happen so you can make some quick cash. Be a doctor then. Go to school. Do something where you have a career instead of working on a construction site. I'm not saying not to do construction, but I'm saying, dude, it's easy. Go back to school. You can't be mad at them for doing what you should be doing. So that's it, man. That's my rant on that. So that was not Pokemon Go related, but we will be talking Pokemon Go stuff soon because there's always something new happening out here. Anyways, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for listening.